Hi there, in this video I'm going to show you how you can implement a custom password validation rule in your Kind sign-up widget. So by default, Kind doesn't enforce any rules, but you can implement your custom password validation logic using a Kind workflow. So you can see that right now password must include at least one uppercase letter. So we have created a password validation logic that will check for a uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, a number and a special character. So you can build it using Kind workflows. So to do this, you will need a free Kind account. You will need a free GitHub account to host the workflows. You will also need a Kind SDK to run, such as the Kind Next.js starter template. So let's get started. Now go to Kind starter kits and go to workflow based template. We're going to use the workflow based template as a starting point to build our workflow. So to use this, click on use this template and click on create a new repository. Now let me name it Kind workflow custom password validation test. Okay, let me click on create repository. It is going to make a copy of that repo into my GitHub account. So now all I have to do is to copy it into my computer. So click on code and click copy to clipboard. Now I'm on my computer. I'm going to open it on my terminal. Now type in git clone and the name of the repo. Enter. This is going to clone the repository into my computer, and now I just need to cd into the new folder. And inside the folder, I'm also going to install the dependency from npm by typing in npm install. Okay, now that it's done, so let me open it on my favorite code editor, VS Code, by typing in code dot. Now you can see the directory with all the configuration files, and you will find the Kind workflow inside here, over here. So if I go to the directory, let me show you kind source, environment, workflows, post user authentication, the default workflow. We're going to build on top of it. I'm going to rename it to match what we are building. So let me just rename it. I just named it custom password validation. Enter. So now let me get back to my editor. So right on top, you can see all the imports. On post authentication event, I'm going to delete it because we don't need it over here. We're going to use on new password event type. We are also going to import a utility function invalidate form field. This is going to help us show a custom message on the Kind widget. So over here, the workflow settings, we're going to name the ID on new password provided. Then we're going to add a new field called name, custom password validation workflow. This is so that it will show up on your Kind dashboard. Over here, there's a trigger. We're going to run this workflow on new password provided event. And one last thing we need to do is we need to add a binding. And we're going to add Kind widget and set it to an empty object. So this binding is going to help this workflow to get a permissions to use Kind widget. So now back to the workflow. Over here, we're going to set on post authentication event, we're going to change it to on new password provided event, and over here we're going to find the password. Let me just set it. We're going to find it from event.context.auth.first_password. So every time someone enters a new password, the first password field, we can get access to it. And then we can do the validation over here. So over here, I'm going to add a new custom password validation function. So I already have created a utility function that I'm going to copy from here. Don't worry, you will find all the code snippets in my description. So let me just copy it and paste it right after the workflow settings object and before the workflow function. Let me just paste it. So this is a custom password validator. It's a utility function that's going to take a password and it's going to check for if it has an uppercase, lowercase, number, and a special character. Depending on the test, it's going to return a message. Password must include at least an uppercase letter, lowercase, one number, or one special character. If it passes through everything, it's going to return null. That means the password passes. So I can do is set invalid message and set it to custom password validator and enter the password provided by user. So every time someone enters a new password, it will go through the custom password validator and it will show either if it has an invalid message or null. So null means that the password is good. So you can build on top of it and you can add your own custom password validation logic over here. So now that you have invalid password check over here, now the final thing you can do is if it's an invalid password, invalid message, we can run the invalid form field and it takes two arguments. The first one is p first password and the next option is the message that you want the user to see. We already have a message over here, invalid message. We can just pass it over here. So now to recap, we have created a password validation workflow and it's going to take the user's submitted password and it's going to run through a custom validation and it's going to show a custom widget message depending on the condition. So now that it's done, it's time for us to deploy it and test it. Now go to the Git source control. Over here, I'm going to add a new message and commit my changes. Add custom password validation flow and click on commit, click on save changes. It's going to sync the changes into my GitHub. Now log into your Kinde dashboard and click on workflows. And here you're going to click on connect repo. So for some reason, if you already have a repo connected, you can change it by going to settings and going to git repo over here. Since we are doing it for the first time, let me just go to workflow, click on connect repo. Once again, click on connect GitHub, continue. Kinde workflow custom password validation test. Select next, select save. Okay, so now it's now set up. If I go to settings, home and workflows, I'll see my custom workflow, custom password validation workflow is now sync. So anytime you want to make a change, you just have to change your code, push it to GitHub and come over here and click on sync code. So now that our workflow is deployed to Kind, it's time for us to test this workflow in action. To test this connection, you will need a Kind application running locally for the user sign up and password setting. You just have to do one more thing. Just go to Kind, go to that application, and over here click on authentication. And by default, Kind uses email and code. We are going to uncheck it. We are going to use password connections. Since we are letting users select their password, we are going to select email plus password with password connections. Click on save. Now go to the Kind application, click on sign up, click on create account. Now your users will be prompted to enter a password. I'm going to set a very easy password, just my name, Tamal Chow. And now if I continue, it's going to show an error. Password must include at least one uppercase character. If I add my uppercase name and continue, I'm still see it needs at least one number. So you get the point. It will not work until they have entered a valid password that follows your convention, like one uppercase letter, one lowercase, one number, and one special character. So make sure that the user enters the thing, otherwise they will keep on getting this error. Now if I select a autofill password, and now the user will be able to log in with their password. So you have successfully implemented a custom password validation logic using Kind workflows. All the codes that you saw in this video, you can find it in the video description below, and do check out the official Kind documentation website for more examples and resources. Do let me know what you think in the comment, and let me link to your repositories what other things you built using this workflow example. And I'll see you on the next video, and happy building with Kind. Bye.